Hey, everybody. I am obviously live by the fact that I'm here, and thank you for being here. I'm not going to be on long, but wanted to say, first of all, last week came back here to Georgia, did the one live stream and did one, um, intended to do one, didn't do a number of them, but what happened was basically this, candidly. Uh, First of all, I come here to Georgia for my mom to spend time with her, and she has this beautiful tendency to fall asleep at the in the kitchen, and I worry and think, you know, so I wind up hanging out in the kitchen with her as she's sleeping to make sure she's okay, and sometimes that translates into me by my own decision, not hers, just staying up until uh, she goes to bed. In other words, from the kitchen to the bed, right? And that means sometimes she doesn't wake up until 4 or 5 in the morning. So that has, hey, how you doing, Antabila? That has continued on for the week, and so I haven't been online for that reason because I was watching mom. So I will resume my standard schedule tomorrow. She's fine. This is all me, you know, and thank you for sticking with me and working with me during I have to be, no, it's a very difficult year. It really has. A very difficult year. But we go onward through the fog of life, right? And we celebrate the Raiders beating the Steelers, and in the process, rolling back the clock to 1976. Now, what do I mean? I mean, look, you don't come to Oakland if you're the Steelers, waving your flags, flying your colors, talking big talk like you're going to beat us, even though we have a 2-10 record or had a 2-10 record at the time, right? But that's precisely what Steeler fans did, and they got their hat handed to them. That's precisely what the Steelers did, and they got their hat handed to them. The Raiders came out with a great game plan. I have to say, after watching the game, yes, I did. I have NFL Game Pass. I liked what I saw out of the Raiders' game plan. For the most part, there are, I'll tell you what I didn't like. I still don't like the lack of what I call a true short passing game along the lines of what the New England Patriots did in 2007. That is a series of plays and execution, when they ran the table during the regular season, that must be studied and replicated because they took the best of the read option, the best of the Bill Walsh offense, and they really efficiently fused it into a lethal weapon. The Raiders could do that, but they haven't. I'm tired of seeing, and this is the reason why the Raiders only had 55 yards on the ground, this, hey, Barry Lee, how you doing? Run play that starts off as the running back in the what we call two position. In other words, historically, running back numbering positions have went like this. Behind the quarterback has been the 3 position, okay? The 2 position was here and the 4 position is here. So the play that I'm talking about starts either at the 2 position or the 4 position where the running back, the quarterback is here at 3 position, and the running back gets the ball in this way. Quarterback takes the shotgun handoff. The center is here, right? Okay. Comes over here, does the running back from the 2 position, takes the handoff and goes on a dive play while the quarterback runs this way. Now, the idea is that the defense is going to run this way with a quarterback, but you have to have a running quarterback for that to happen. It's stupid to do it, and I'm just saying straight out, to do it if you don't have a series of plays where a quarterback runs and you don't have a quarterback that's known for running. So why install that play? So there's a lot of habit, and I apologize for the insulting comment, but there's a lot of habit of in the NFL of borrowing plays from college without understanding the full context of which those plays were installed. And that's one of them. And go on and on and on. I'm working to get Ted Say on here, the father of the read option. Excuse me, he's not the father of the read option, he's the father of the jet sweep. We have this time difference because he's in the UK. We'll work it out. Because if he came on now, it would be like 2 o'clock in the morning his time. No, if he came on now, it would be more like 4 o'clock in the morning his time. In either case, we'd both be exhausted. We're working it out. John Akala, how are you? Also, there are a number of you who are owed shares. You are late getting them from me. You will get your shares this week and then some. I promise you that. And I have a new addition to Oakland News Now, the new flagship blog that I'm going to install. And all of you who have been loyal are going to be a part of it. That's right. And I'm not going to say what it is until I install it, but I have some changes that I made to the site. It's more secure than ever. Not that there was ever a problem. It's faster than ever. It loads as fast as, I think the fastest time it's loaded was 2.3 seconds. And I'd like to get even faster than that, but I've got Google AdWords on there, which is slow, but hey, working it out. All right, back to the game. The Raiders' defining moment of the season was the final drive, the final offensive drive of the game, where they went, 82 yards to score a touchdown. That drive was a thing of beauty. It was a mixture of great use of spread formation, seam passes, and pinpoint passing by Derek Carr due to the training of John Gruden. Derek's, I figured out that Derek's best pass is actually a sidearm. He loves to throw that sidearm. He just seems to get there. I mean, you want to be, the desire is to criticize and say, form-wise, that's not good, right? But the bottom line is it gets there right between the 8 and the 2 if you're Jordy Nelson, or the 1 and the 0 if you're Seth or anybody else, right? It gets there. And so you just have to satisfy yourself with the end result. Welcome to Zenny62. The Raiders' Carr was 25 of 34 for 322 yards and 2 touchdowns. No interceptions, okay? No interceptions. Again, 55 yards on the ground. And I thought the defensive performance was very satisfactory. I mean, the DBs are flying around, particularly Gary and Conley and everybody else. Hey, everybody, welcome to Zenny62. Great game. I mean, you've got to say it was a game that took you back to 78. As G. Taylor just pointed out, hey, G. Taylor, only 1 turnover. John Akala has a question. He asks, by when do the Raiders have to make a decision where they are going to play next year? Hey, Tom Caller, how are you doing? That absolute drop dead date really could be extended out to March of next year. That's when March and April are where they have to really sign the leases wherever they're going to be, which means they got to wrap it up they have to start wrapping it up by February. Okay. But by February, they should have figured out a place, because between February and April, when you start drawing up the paperwork and you want to sign it by April so you can do your thing. All right. NorCal 408 says, how about them Cowboys? Great game. It was a fantastic game. Yeah, how about them Cowboys? And how about the Cowboys defense? And how about the Cowboys just battling it out? I mean, you can pick out different aspects of the game, but overall, it was a gut-wrenching, gut-check, gut-test, gutty win by the Cowboys as much as the Raiders had their gutty win. The difference is the Cowboys are poised to go somewhere, and the Raiders have right now the 3rd pick in the first round of the 2019 NFL Draft in Nashville. That's the difference, okay? 831 Scott says, how about those Bears? What a difference. Excuse me, defense, yes. And How fitting is it? How fitting is it for the Bears to win at home in the cold, right? On Sunday Night Football. I mean, how cool was that? And basically show everybody that the Rams can be beaten. I heard Deion Sanders say on the NFL Network that, this is a scratch game because they're a California team. Look, Bill Walsh said it best about the 49ers. You have to play and win anywhere. And that goes back to when the 49ers beat in 1985. The 49ers beat the Chicago Bears in, I believe it was the first round divisional playoff game in the cold. In the cold. And it was none other than Ronnie Lott who said, as he rubbed his hands, the finesse ass 49ers came in and kicked ass. That was fun stuff. Fun stuff. And NorCal says, thank you, Raiders, for Mari Cooper. And Max Bird says, Fred Dean. Yeah, that was the Fred Dean game. Legendary defensive end who was originally with the San Diego Chargers. Bill Walsh smartly brought him to the San Francisco 49ers. Huge difference maker. Fred Dean was Charles Haley without the emotional problems. Fred Dean he was fast. Fred Dean was the Dwight Freeney of his day. Okay. That was Fred Dean. Number 71 with the Chargers and also with the 49ers. You brought Fred Dean in when you wanted to guarantee a sack. That's how good Fred Dean was. Okay. Whenever he came in, it was like, oh, sack. Scratch it. Mark it. There it is. That's it. Fred Dean was an awesome player. And G. Taylor, I stand corrected. I said 71 and Fred Dean's number was 74. Thank you very much. 74. Did he have 70? No, he already said 74. Not 71. So where the one came from, I don't know. But hey, look, I'm lucid enough to realize I was wrong. Ding! There it is. 74. Tom Caller says, since yesterday, my Super Bowl picture looks different. What happened to the Rams? What happened to the Rams is that, look, the Rams, when you take a look at them, have a simple repertoire of plays, okay? And based on the modular, it's not a read option system, but it's a modular kind of jet sweep quarterback fake out of single back system that Ted Say popularized. And again, I want to bring him on the show to talk about. Popularized it 10, 11 years ago online as an idea. Okay. And now this year, it's finally spread like wildfire around the league. But you start looking at the Rams, there are plays that are staples, and that's one of them. If you fashion your defense to stop it, which means, well, play man for man, make sure that you have a key such that your corner linebackers are told to blitz whenever you see the running back, single back, and the running back goes away from you. So if you're a corner linebacker here, okay, and I'm not saying all NFL teams do this, but I'm saying that a lot of teams that have stopped the Rams have had some variation of this kind of defense where, hey, look, they put pressure on the side away from the fake because they know the quarterback's coming back to that side, all right? And John Akala says Khalil Mack is a beast on defense. Khalil Mack is certainly a beast. But you got to, because my mom was saying exactly the same thing, and I completely 1,000,000% agree, but you have to give it to the new head coach. This is his first year, folks. Matt Nagy, okay? Look, there's the Bears without Matt Nagy and the Bears with Matt Nagy, and so far the Bears with Matt Nagy in just his first year are really doing an exceptionally fantastic job. They really are. So as far as Las Vegas, 831 Scott says, I still think if the Saints get home field advantage in the playoffs, they'll represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. And here's the thing, 831 Scott, considering the way the Bears played, they have to be considered a wild card, all right? You cannot discount them. They're a dangerous organization, the Chicago Bears. And I could see the Bears walking into the Super Bowl. I could see the Bears playing in the Super Bowl against, you want to say, the Patriots, maybe, but the Patriots lost to the Dolphins. Who can you pick from the AFC now, right? In fact, now that I say this, let me take a look at the standings and get a better handle on where things are right now, okay? But as things look right now in terms of the division standings, how about the Cleveland Browns beating the Carolina Panthers? And how about the Browns? Look, I gotta say it, even though I'm a Hugh Jackson fan, this whole year was not a good look for Jackson. Okay. And I hope Hugh learns from this year and does the one thing that he should have done a long time ago, and that is don't pay attention to the sniper fire of the people that work for you. If there's a problem that started, jettison, in this case, the Todd Haley's of the world and move forward. If you have a rookie quarterback who's smart, don't get intimidated by that. Learn from him. Okay? Incorporate what he's learned into your game because you're the head coach and go forward. If Hugh Jackson had done those two things, not only would he have remained the Browns head coach, the Browns would have a better record than they do and arguably have been in playoff contention. Now, the Patriots are 9-4, Dolphins are 7-6 with that win. The Bills are 4-9, the Jets are 4-9. It's the AFC East. The Steelers, with the loss to the Raiders, 7-5-1. The Ravens are 7-6. So the Ravens, thank you. You could say the Ravens can thank the Raiders because they brought the Steelers down a peg, giving the Ravens a truly good shot at overtaking the Steelers in the AFC North. Okay, the Cleveland Browns are 5-7. The Bengals are 5-8. AFC South, the Houston Texans are 9-4. The Colts are 7-6. The Titans are 7-6. What a logjam there. The Jaguars are 4-9. The Kansas City Chiefs clinched the playoff. Ding! There's even X by their name. They are 11-2, and the LA Chargers are right behind them at 10-3. I repeat, the LA Chargers sleepers are right behind them at 10-3. Here comes Thursday Night Football pitting, you guessed it, the Chiefs versus the Chargers. Epic battle coming up, folks. The Broncos are very sad, 6-7. They also have an ownership battle that is involving Beth Bolin, who should be running the Broncos as managing owner, but that's another story. And of course, the Raiders are 3-10. Even though the record is bad, let's face it, the victory against the Steelers was oh so satisfying. It just was. So there's the layout. Okay, right now we're looking at the one team in the AFC that has clinched the playoffs already are the Chiefs. That's it. That's it. Okay. In terms of schedule, in terms of what we have remaining, how come this won't change over? It won't change. Now it changes over. Okay. We have no teams with a bye week, by the way, for coming up. And we've got tomorrow night, the Vikings play the Seahawks. The Seahawks are 7-5. And the Vikings are 5-1. So the Vikings can knock the Seahawks down a peg and improve themselves. The Vikings, if the Vikings beat, this is a major. If the Vikings beat the Seahawks in Seattle, the Vikings would rise to 7-5 and totally change the NFC playoff picture with respect to the wild card. All right. Now, that's how that would go. In terms of the next week after that, you've got, as we click on it here, is it clickable? Yeah, it is. You have 3 weeks. You have week 15, 16, and 17. Okay. I'm not going to go through all those games, but I'm saying that there's still time. This is still very much unsettled in terms of who's going where. But you can definitely say that the Chiefs are in. It's a matter of the Chargers now. If the Chargers, even if the Chargers were to beat the Chiefs and win 11 games, what all that would do is cement the Chargers' place as having one of the wild card spots. The question is who fills that next wild card spot against them. Against them. Okay. And I have to say one thing. given the way the Ravens almost beat the Chiefs at home, a lot of people better hope the Ravens collapse. If they collapse, it would mean that injuries and better game planning caught up to them, but I don't see that happening. That is a dangerous team with an excellent defense. And arguably they could walk, if they walk into the playoffs, you should bet on them to wind up in the AFC Championship. Even if they're the wild card, folks, they've done it before at another time, but it's still possible. They have that in their DNA, as they say. Okay. So let me get back to your points here. Joseph Binsman, how you doing? 831 Scott says Kansas City. And John Akala agrees. He says, look out for the Chargers. And Binsman says that was pretty much the best Sunday of football of the season. Many drama-filled games, and my Giants, he says, get a feel-good blowout win. Love seeing the Pats lose in the last play like that. Yeah, wasn't that something? Billy Blotty says George Kittle is a beast on offense. Can't be covered by anyone. He's talking about the 49ers tight end who went over 1,000 yards and set the record, single-game record for yardage this day, technically yesterday. All right. Ty Glack says, Raiders win is so moot considering they're leaving. What true Oakland Raider fan cares anymore? Well, no, I care. All right. I care. Okay. And Todd, I guess I'm just of the view that, well, first of all, I love talking sports, right? So this is part of it. So that's me. But you know, having said that, you know, so this is how it splits down. There are people who say, well, gee, what true Oakland Raider fan cares? Then there are people who say, gee, what true Oakland Raider fan doesn't care? Okay? So you can't win. There's some fans who think if you're a true Raider fan, you should not care what happens to them because you're mad that they're a true Oakland Raider fan because you're mad they're leaving. There are others who say, hey, if you're a true Oakland Raider fan, you are over that and you're rooting for the team anyway. This is where I come down. I root for Oakland to get another team. I root for a lawsuit because, as I've said before, and I'll say again, there was a lot done that needs to be properly how would I put it? I would say properly adjudicated. All right, needs to be properly adjudicated in court, which means what? Lawsuit. Okay, that's what it means. To sort all that out. If the city doesn't do it, the city is worse than, I'm talking about the city of Oakland, worse than even I thought. Okay. Now, Ty Glack, excuse me. 831 Scott says the sad thing is the Chargers are still a good team and no one in LA cares about them. But you know what? The Chargers could walk in. The Chargers could be your Super Bowl champion. Then people will start caring, right? Wouldn't that be something? Of course, it would be worse if they were the Super Bowl champion and no one cared. That would be worse. Oh, they win, but hey, there's no increase in merchandise sales because nobody cares. Let's see what happens. That would be the ultimate barometer of where the NFL is in the American psyche right now. Even though the NFL is doing quite well as a whole, but if the Chargers can't make a go of it in LA, even after winning the Super Bowl, you need to yank them out of LA. You need to bring them to San Diego where they have a history. That's just straight out a fact. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Tom Collar says he thinks the Patriots are still going to the Super Bowl. Joseph Binsman believes that Bill Belichick should be found guilty of overthinking today. And he said Gronk should not have been in on that play. And, well, Look, Bill Belichick made his mark by overthinking, so I don't think he's going to stop anytime soon. Uh, Pedro Gallardo says, "Did you see the XFL press conference? No teams in the Bay or Las Vegas." Pedro, read OaklandNewsNow.com and type XFL, and you'll see. Yeah, in fact, I'll help you out. Oakland, bookmark this, man. Oakland News Now, because it's also on Google News. This is an official news source. Excuse me. Do it this way. An officially recognized news source. There. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Voila. Have at it. Now, Joseph Benzema says Ravens can absolutely steal the division from the Steelers, Pedro. Steelers face New England next week, then go to New Orleans the week after. Yikes. That's a great point, Joseph. And that is a great point. I mean, the Ravens can steal the division. My thought was the Ravens had no business losing to the Chargers. You heard what I said. The Ravens had no business losing to the Chargers, and yet they did. Because with what? I think it was just under 2 minutes left in the game. The Ravens were up 14-17. Okay. So I didn't watch what happened. I assumed the Ravens got it. I didn't bother to check anything more. I thought they had it. When I heard the score, I was shocked. I thought they lost. They had the game in their hands. The heck? But that's Mahomes for you. Gunslinger. Whoa. John Collis says, do I still think the Raiders play in 2020? Let me put it this way. Unless the Raiders are really definitely negotiating behind the scenes of the public, it looks like they're just biding time until they see what the city is going to do with the lawsuit. But also, I don't think that they're working that hard to move someplace else or to have games elsewhere, and would just simply boil down to simply just, hey, we'll just play out the string here. That's how it looks right now. Now, there will be people who believe that, and I've said this before as a possibility, that the Furtis brothers may have worked a deal with Levi Stadium and Jed York, and may play over there next year. But I can't see Raider fans going to Levi Stadium, essentially enemy territory in red, no black seats, to watch a Raider game. As ridiculous as what I said might sound to you, I just don't see that happening. Okay, I don't. Hey, folks, it is 1:47 here. I'm going to bail out just about 5 minutes, okay? I'll be back tomorrow with a normal, much earlier schedule, which is 8:30 Pacific, 11:30 Eastern, right? Tom Collins says the Raiders deserve the lawsuit after all. Yeah, they do. They do. And Tom Collins says if the lawsuit is coming, the Raiders are gone. Tom, I'm not certain that's the case. Okay. I mean, I know Davis says that, but I am personally not certain that's the case. The Raiders in the past have played in the Coliseum under lawsuits they filed against the city of Oakland. All right. So I don't see that should be a big deal. I know Mark says, well, look, we're giving them money. Well, you're not giving the city of Oakland all that money. The city of Oakland maybe sees a little bit of it, maybe $500,000 of it, but it doesn't go to the city. But the bottom line is, hey, look, there was a wrong. And not only that, why spend a lot more money someplace else? Or even I don't care if you're causing the Furtis brothers to spend more money, okay? Money you don't have. Why do that? As opposed to just finishing at the Coliseum. Just finish. Yeah, the Raiders had this objective. Oh, we're going to bring a Super Bowl to Oakland before we leave to Vegas. Well, you know what? Stick on that. stick on it. Why not? Okay. Uh, in fact, I was thinking about those dudes. Uh, and for because I kept saying Fertita, the Fertita brothers. See what the latest news on the Frank and Lorenzo are. If I type, let's see here. Nothing about the Raiders, just stuff about the UFC. And fans for Titas attend last Bay Area battle of Raiders and Niners. We know about that. In short, folks, nothing new. Nothing, as I say, nothing to see here. Well, there is something to see. We just can't see it. Buckshot says Raiders, or he says Raiders. How's that? How's that? Tom Collins says, let's hope it's just that game of chicken. But you're right. Where will they play? Yeah, look, the more time that's elapsed in this, the fewer options they have. Okay. I mean, yeah, thanks, Buckshot, for doing that. Got me going. Hey, welcome to Zen 62, everybody. It's 1:50, and I'm going to close up shop here, wind down. So 1:55 Eastern, gone. Okay. We'll be back tomorrow. Yes. Lawsuit. I did say I promised a lawsuit update. And originally, the lawsuit was supposed to have been filed by now. Okay. I was told December or before December. Then the update I got 2 weeks ago was it's going to be mid-December, maybe. All right. So that's where things are at right now. It will not be a lawsuit for the name. It will not be a lawsuit for the image. It won't be a lawsuit for money, damages based on good faith. In fact, you know what? Having said that, let me see real quick where the St. Louis lawsuit is. St. Louis is NFL. There it is. See the latest news here. Let's see here. It's not the NFL, but pro football will return in 2020 as XFL selects St. Louis. Okay, fine. Rams agree to pull out checkbook, pay $24 million to St. Louis PSL. What? Attorneys. Okay, here's a breakthrough. Listen to this, folks. This is something that occurred on December 5th, and I need to blog about this. This was in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Rams agree to pull out checkbook, pay $24 million. Hold on a second. Hold your horses. I'm waiting for this ad to go away here. It's in the way. Okay, now. Rams agree to pull out checkbook, pay $24 million to St. Louis PSL holders. Okay. And now I've got to answer a survey question before I can read this thing. How much do you plan to spend on power by zero? All right, fine. There we go. All right. The Rams have agreed to pay personal seat license holders in St. Louis up to $24 million for the unused portion of their PSLs after the team relocated to Los Angeles. Ooh, there's a precedent there, okay? Attorneys representing thousands of St. Louis Rams PSL holders filed a motion for preliminary approval Wednesday in U.S. court. This follows the news last week that the parties had reached a settlement in a class action suit filed shortly after the NFL owners approved the relocation of the Rams from St. Louis to Los Angeles on January 12th of 2016. The Rams also agreed to pay up to $7.4 million in attorney's fees and expenses, a figure that will be paid separately with seeking comment. It could take 6 months or more before eligible PSL holders receive any money, which will come in the form of checks sent directly by the Rams. The process to submit a claim for an award can't begin until court the court grants preliminary approval, which is expected in 6 to 8 weeks. This is first step in the process, said A.J. Bruning, an attorney from one of the firms representing PSL holders. If the court gives preliminary approval of this settlement, a website will be put up that people can go to and they can make a claim. And that will happen 10 days after the preliminary approval settlement and stay open for 188 days. 180 days. Once preliminary approval occurs, the Rams will mail or email notifications to every PSL holder listed in their database, but that database is incomplete, and those who think they might be in line for an award are asked to check the website once it becomes active. There's no downside to making a claim, said Fernando Bermudez, an attorney for another firm representing Rams PSL holders in St. Louis. Even PSL holders who quit buying tickets without transferring the PSLs could be entitled to an award if they did not receive a cancellation notice from the Rams. Personal seat license were a one-time fee that gave the buyer the right to buy season tickets to Rams games in St. Louis. The actual cost of the ticket was extra. The original PSLs were good for 30 years, or the length of the original stadium lease in St. Louis. The Rams left for Los Angeles after only 21 seasons. The settlement awards PSL holders the equivalent of 9 years' worth of their PSL purchase price, which equates to 30% of its original value. This is really huge, folks. Depending on the value of the PSL purchased, the settlement could bring an award as low as $75 or up to several $1,000s per person. This is an important day for St. Louis and for the Rams fans, for the loyal fans who originally bought the PSL, said Ryan Brunig, AJ's brother and part of the Brunig law firm. When we filed this lawsuit, we were seeking reimbursement for those 9 years that they lost of NFL football in St. Louis, and that's exactly what we got. There were 6 tiers of PSL prices for season ticket holders. When the Rams moved to St. Louis, the higher the price, the better the seat location in what is now called the Dome at America's Center. Those pricing tiers were between $250 in the low end and $4,500 at the high end. There's more here, and the whole point, this is actually a long article, and I'll stop reading it right now. It's very informative, and it's very, hey, you know what? It is very much a precedent set for Raider fans. And as G. Taylor says about the money, and he says there are news about the headquarters in Henderson too. I know that, Tom, but in fact, wait a minute. Let me just read out of fairness, recite that before I Raiders Henderson. How that Nevada news? Okay. And Henderson approves agreement for Raiders headquarters and practice facility. Yeah. But the whole point is that the big news, that's huge news, that if you're a PSL holder for the Raiders, I just read to you a future you should pursue making sure occurs for you. Okay. I need to check and see how the Raiders are handling this, because this is a big deal. This happened last week. Bottom line, the Rams are paying, if you add attorney's fees, okay, the Rams are paying $31 million out to settle with PSL holders, paying their attorney's fees and paying disbursements. You can get as little as $75. You can get $75. There you go. Or as much as several $1,000s, depending on the value of the PSL you held. Now, in the Raiders' case, the PSLs were converted to lifetime. Okay. And I need to find out how that I need to contact the Raiders, even if I don't get an answer, find out how that ships out. All right. So I'm out. It's 1:58, folks. See you tomorrow. All right. See you tomorrow. Good night to all. Good night. See ya.